Recording has begun. This is Charts Chat for December 12th, 2017. So I guess we can go through. We got a couple of discussion topics here listed in the agenda. The first one, Vic, I think you put in, which is the tests in E2E. You want to talk to us about that? Vic, you're muted if you're talking.
I just lost audio for a little bit, so I don't know what happened.
Oh, okay. We just hit your discussion topic point of the.
Yeah, the end-to-end test. So, Matt pointed out that these tests have been failing, so they got added by Foxish in like the 1.6.1.7 release, I think, and then had been broken for a little bit or a long bit. So I started to look at those again. We had an issue with one chart failing to install due to timeout. That was the Spinnaker chart that downloads a bunch of images. And so I removed that one temporarily and found other issues like leaking resources from PVCs, which were making the test to fail. So I got through that yesterday. And now there is another issue, which is some of the Helm test commands are failing. And I can't really figure out yet what's going on with that. So I'm going to be digging into that over this week.
That sounds great. If you need somebody to review or poke at something, feel free to reach out to me. It was actually, Aaron, who's the co-lead of SIG testing, I work with him. And so he's the one who came to me to point this out, and he's been bugging me for weeks and weeks on it. And so I finally decided to file the issue, so at least it's recorded somewhere rather than him just bugging me. And so one of the things they're talking about is if tests like this are failing all the time, then they're not useful to the project and they're costing us money. And our bill is not small when you look at how much compute we use and resource time. So they're saying if it's not doing anything, we should either fix it or remove it. And so I find that's why I finally filed that issue and where it comes from. So I'm happy to, and if we get this working, it'll make him happy. So I can justify helping you with that as much as you need.
Awesome. Yeah, and I think it's useful to have just release to release some of the charts running in there, and then as we get better tests and stuff to add charts to that testing. I think it's a valuable thing. So I want to get some effort to get that fixed up.
Fantastic.
Hey, do we want to, Matt and Vic, do we want to make a plan for how to go about that while on this call? Or is that something you'd rather follow up on separately?
On how to fix it or how to add more charts?
The approach. I mean, for example, whether we would want to just remove all of the failing tests and then make issues to add them back incrementally as we fix them, or whether we take some other approach.
Yeah, I think actually I think that's what I was going to do. Is basically remove everything until we have some green, and then add things back incrementally. So that's the easiest path to green, I think, at this point. Yeah. So I was going to go for that, basically the cowardly way out, and then come back through with adding tests as well.
Yeah, I think just to fill you in, what Vic did was he removed the Spinnaker chart, which was the one that was failing, and that was failing because I'm trying to remember why I was failing. I can't remember.
You were saying that there was just a lot of resources, and somehow there's a timeout.
It's just the Spinnaker chart deploys, I think it's nine different deployments, each with their own image, and every test is running on a fresh cluster, so no image is cached. Whereas in like the PR testing, we run on a warm cluster. So with that, we've extended the timeout in the PR tests, and also most of the time, at least some of those images are cached, so it takes not quite as long. So it's a matter of extending the timeouts and stuff like that. But I took the cowardly and just removed it.
And that's great. That's really great. So you've extended the timeout. We've removed a test that just takes a really long time, so we can get to green. And I think the last issue, if I'm right, is there's some issue with log files SCPing over to GCP where we can get to them later. And there's some issue with that. And I think that's the last problem we have in there. Am I right on that?
Yeah, I can't tell from the output of that thing, like which errors are fatal. There's many, many more highlighted lines that say the word error. And I have trouble figuring out which are
Okay.
fatal errors.
So the way to look for it is the highlighting is just actually to help us read it, because one of the
Right.
problems that they had is they used to not highlight anything, and then it was really hard to find out where the problem was. So just for our visual nature, they added highlighting on the word error to help you quickly scan the files and display stuff up front. That doesn't actually trigger the failure. It's a non-zero exit code that does. And you'll see that it's the SCPing that's returned. It says it's returning a non-zero exit code. And so I think that's actually what's failing right now.
Okay, if someone else can take a look at the output from last night and see what they see, because I thought I saw Helm test fail, but maybe that was intermittent. I don't know. So yeah, I'd be happy to have a second pair of eyes on that.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go take a look at that this afternoon, and I'll see whether I can get some of Aaron's time, because he knows how to read all that stuff better than me and to look for that
Sweet,
stuff.
yeah, that'd be awesome.
So I got to talk to him anyway, so I'll see whether I can grab some of his time on that one.
Cool.
Regarding timeouts, I think we could even increase them more, because there's always a few jobs that never run, that always fail on CI. So,
oh, really?
For example, the Neo4j job never works because it times out. It spins up a couple of stateful stuff. So,
I'm fine with extending it in the PR testing too. That sounds good.
So we're actually going to have to, because one of the things that we did this week is we turned on required tests now. You can't press that merge button until all the tests pass. And
Sweet.
We did that because for owners files, you're going to kind of have to. So people just say, it's failing, I hit merge anyway, right? We want to keep people honest and actually have passing stuff. And so now everything's required, which is why you're going to see the yellow dot in there if the end-to-end test hasn't been run yet in the PR listing, because not all the jobs have been run. So yeah, we'll have to extend that timeout.
That means the CI job has to run, but we were speaking about tests. We don't yet require Helm tests, right?
No, they're not required to have tests.
That's a different thing, but we want to do it.
Yeah, in this case, it's just they still every chart in the E2E, we actually spin it up and make sure it starts up and everything.
Okay, cool.
But that has to run now and has to be successful in order for it to get that green check mark for anybody to have a merge button, or for even CI to merge. It's now a blocking job.
And so we definitely have to make sure we somehow can run it for all jobs.
Yeah. So some of them are timing out. Do we know how long it needs?
No, not really. We need to find out, I guess.
That's the fun part of the timeouts. Yeah. So actually, I would say I've added 5 minutes to it each time. So if we add another 5 and see how that does. The thing is, we do want to catch something that never, ever, ever succeeds. So,
quick question: Is it possible for the testing framework to allow configurable timeouts per item? Because some are obviously going to be really fast, and it would be inefficient to, make them all the time of the week.
Well, the timeout. Yeah, but the ones that actually work and go through will just go through. They won't wait for that.
Okay.
Yeah. It's only worst case.
A while ago, we talked about switching to using the ---- wait flag. Is that something we should go for?
Is it implemented yet?
What do you mean?
Oh, yeah, I see it is. All right. Set.
I think we should try that.
Switching to wait and then the timeout.
The problem is also that the way running pods are detected is not really correct, and you can't really do it in a correct way. We talked about this a while ago.
So wait is on install to make sure everything comes up and running.
Yeah.
Vic, did you have any thoughts about that?
I do not.
Okay, I guess, yeah, we could give it a try to make sure. Wait and timeout.
Yeah, maybe we should play with it with a few charts to see if it works.
Yeah, I'd say let's get things all on the timeout thing and then start messing with the other stuff. One thing at a time.
Yeah, timeout defaults to 300 seconds. And so wait will wait for as long as the timeout.
Yeah, that's
before marking
not
something
enough.
successful. Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's something that we could go ahead and stick in the pull request tests. Would that work then in the end-to-end tests as well, Vic, or would they time out first?
The end-to-end tests are just running a different script at this point, and I'm not actually 100% sure why. So yeah, they would be separate. And those have.
Yeah, I was just wondering about the wait command on like Helm install. Yeah, I was just wondering about adding the wait flag to Helm install. I think there's even a comment in there.
Oh, yeah. If it's not already in there, I didn't actually look at if wait was in there already. But yeah, wait, we could add that there. The timeouts are just different in the script. And I talked to Foxish a couple weeks ago, and he said there's kind of like 2 sets of timeouts. So I need to talk to him about how he implemented that.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, if nobody else gets to it later this week, I can start to put some of the timeout flags into the tests, unless somebody else wants to get to those pull requests before then. Anything else on the testing there we want to talk about?
Oh, good. Let's try to get to green as relaxed as possible, and then work our way back to a nice strict testing.
Yeah, that would be nice. All right. Then the next thing on the agenda is owners files. I'd like to get some owners files stuff working in place this week, actually, to see if we can start going down that path. To kind of help with that, I wrote a couple of scripts. Let me go see if I can find them. I'll paste the repo in where I put them here. There's 2 scripts here. One is called gen owners, and what that'll do is you point it at a chart, and it can generate an owners file from the chart. And even if somebody's name and email address are in there, but you don't have their GitHub ID, it can try to find that using the GitHub API. You will need to set a GitHub token in order for that to work. As an environment variable that I can pick up. And then the other one is an audit owners, and you point it at the repo, and it'll walk the entire tree, search for all owners files, collect a list of all GitHub IDs, and then hit the collaborators API on the repo, and grab all the names of all the collaborators and see who is in an owners file but isn't a collaborator, and give you a list of names. And it's got a couple of options to help with that. Like if you're an admin on the repo, which a couple people are, I'm not sure who, you can actually go ahead and make them pull or read-only collaborators in the repo with a flag automatically, or you can get a nice bulleted list output that can be sent to the mailing list, ask for them to be members. There's a number of things we can do, but it provides those tools to help fill in that gap. So that way, so Prow, the merge API, when you do things like approve and looks good to me, they have to be a collaborator on the repo. Even if they're only a read-only, pull-only collaborator on the repo and have no special permissions beyond what they have today, they have to have that for the access to control to say, sure, they're in an owner's file. And we also, trust them. And so that before those commands work. And so that's the idea, is to figure out who those are so that way we can do something with them. So these 2 scripts help. Gen owners has some limitations. It doesn't mess with the chart file to do things like update somebody's name to their username or increment the chart version, because the automation around that right now goes ahead and restructures all the properties. So like description jumps to the top, and like, all the ordering for how we expect things to be human readable all get changed up because it messes with the whole file. And I haven't had the time to come up with a different way of outputting it than the normal tools. but it's a start. And so this was my way to start messing with those. So once we get it turned on, which I'd like to do today or tomorrow, we can start layering in owners files as pull requests. And this tooling was just designed to kind of help with that. So who wants to help me? Because I'll need pull requests, and I need somebody with admin access to deal with things like adding collaborators to repos, because I don't have that access right now. Vic, are you going to be around to help with that? Because I think you're the person who's got that.
Yeah, I can probably do it on Thursday. Do you have some time on Thursday?
Do I have some time on Thursday? Sure. And Scott, you said you can help, right?
So yeah, Thursday afternoon is best for me.
Okay.
I can help generate PRs. I don't have admin access.
Yeah. All right, Vic, I'll come hunting for you Thursday. Should we get a time on the calendar on Thursday to walk through what we need then?
Yeah. I'm PST, and I have basically after 1 p.m. PST after open.
After 1. All right. So I'm going to send you a meeting invite for 1 PST because I've got until from about 1 to 2 that day, and then I go on daddy duty because my wife's going to work.
Awesome.
So
yeah, works.
That's the gap. I'll send you an invite just to make sure, and I'll also share it out to the list here in case anybody else wants to jump on there as well. But I'll try and get a bunch of the other tasks done, so that way we can just crunch down on the things we need admin access for at that point.
Cool.
All right. All right, perfect. I will send that out to the folks here. And that's what I want to do. I really would like to get this done by the end of the week so we can announce it like on Friday and say, hey, folks, guess what we've got for you now? You know?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
It
Definitely.
would.
It would help go a long way toward maintaining the enthusiasm of the community, because I think that I haven't seen it wane, but you know, it's pretty common. There's a lot of grumbling about PRs.
Yeah, so one of the things that I found when I was doing the SIGAPS update for KubeCon was that if you look over time, tracking the months, you actually see that uptake is not having the nice curve you'd like to see. And I think that's really because of our ability to respond to things. And if we can remove us out of the loop on things such as old charts, you know, so we only have to deal with new charts and common patterns and CI and the charts we own or the charts that don't have owners, we can start to get more interest in charts coming in again. Of course, we'll need better CI and other documentation and stuff, but we're out of the critical path for a bunch of things. So I like that.
Hey guys, sorry, I actually dropped right in the middle. Did anyone hear anything I said?
I did not. I thought that was my end.
If it's okay, I'll just repeat real quick. I just wanted to say that I think that that announcement that you were talking about, Matt, would go a long way toward helping maintain the enthusiasm of the community who are starting to grumble a bit because PRs are taking a while.
Yeah.
I realize also reviewing their PRs would be good, but if we have some automation that might, you know, just help make the whole process easier, anything we can do, you know, I think that would help keep that level of that spirit up.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I will probably tweak the tools a little bit more today. One of the other tweaks that I wanted to bring in was to handle the case of who should you have if it says Bitnami bot, because Bitnami bot manages a bunch of charts, but it's never going to be merging pull requests because it's just automation. And so I did get a list of names from the Bitnami folks of who to put in the owners files for that. We probably need to update the charts for that as well, but I can slip that into the automation. And then probably this afternoon or tomorrow, I'll just start sticking PRs in for those and helping anybody else who wants to do the same with the tools or do it manually. It's up to you. So we can start getting some of this going. Sweet.
By the way, Matt, this This tooling looks really really useful.
Thanks.
Scanning through it now.
The other thing that I might as well come back to, if we're good with owners files, anybody have anything else they want to talk about with owners files? All right, then one of them that I'm going to kick in here is we had the documenting best practices from the 28th. And I don't think, somebody came to me and said, did you notice nobody submitted a PR yet for this? And so I was going to bring it up again that we had some folks who were interested in writing some of the documentation on this. And I don't know if anybody's actually here who volunteered. But we probably need to start getting on some folks or finding ways to write some of this. So I'll probably bring it up every meeting until it's checkboxed that I'm here. Though I don't think anybody's here who signed up. Maybe they knew they were delinquent on their homework and skipped.
I didn't know there was an official sign up, but I definitely said I'm interested in helping with that. I mean, I think
Same thing here. Yeah. I remember there was talk about there being a sign up, but I never saw anything about it.
So if you scroll down to the meeting minutes from, and here I'll drop them in again in case somebody came late, from last time, you'll see the different topics and some names next to them. It's under documenting best practices, review guidelines, is the doc link there. We can put them in. And it's got PVC, storage class, RBAC, network policy, those things. And you'll see some folks put their names next to them.
Right.
And so if you know stuff here, you might as well also start or connect with the person and just tie off on it.
I think we also said that we would have a bit of just an overview meeting about some of these things because, not to add unnecessary ceremony, but just to kind of mine all of our collective knowledge, not for the writing itself, but to point to examples where those are best currently exemplified, so someone on the call might say, hey, that chart does this very, very well, but it has these problems. This chart does these 3 things well, et cetera, and just at least get a list started. And that would help as well.
Sounds good. If some of the names who are on here were going to do that, I would be happy to actually start that now. And maybe we should do that in the next meeting, see if we can get some of them and put some time aside and do that next time. Yeah.
We could start. I know, let's see, what there's a few charts that handled stateful sets pretty well.
Yeah, okay.
Which one was that? Anyway, yeah, I guess I think everybody's also, the dust is settling after KubeCon.
Yeah, and in fact, while we talk about the next meeting here of what we can talk there, the next meeting, anybody know what day it is? December 26th. I think we should cancel. Because I know a lot of people, if anybody, are just not going to make it that day.
No.
Okay. So this would be our last meeting of the year, going every other week. Yeah, did you want to, I'm sorry, Scott, to cut you off on that. Did you want to, were you talking, did you say stateful sets?
I was just, I thought I accessed a memory of which charts did that pretty well, but then I just kind of dropped it. I realized that memory was inaccessible. Someone here may know, right? I know it was brought up in the last call. A few charts were listed, and I remember looking at them, but I myself have not done much with that. I know Ingress has done fairly well in a few charts, the Jenkins chart, the Drupal chart, and that's represented pretty well already in Helm Create and Chart Util. So that one shouldn't be too difficult. Some of the others.
That was handling Ingress?
Ingress, yeah.
Is Ingress an optional? Like you can flag it, turn it on and off, do those kinds of things?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so when you do a Helm Create, that's one of the things I added to Helm Create. It allows, I tried to have as many conversations with as possible without wasting time, but just to try to gather the best practices because they were so wildly divergent in the charts already and how that was handled. And that was what everyone came up with thus far. So I'm sure all of those have room for improvement, but that's one of the, I think from our last meeting we said that would be a great next step after we do some documentation. I think from what I remember, it was basically get the low-hanging fruit fastest, and then move on to the things that would bring you the most value next, but might take more time. And so the first was just at least listing and linking to charts that do some of these items well, and maybe list any caveats if we can think about them and remember them, and maybe just keep that as a running list. And then that would be a good outline for documenting in the review guidelines. And then after that, those could be instrumentalized in ChartUtil, or if we have a better proposal.
So let me make this suggestion.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about it and we need a place to capture it. Did you want to start an issue and stick a few of them in there that you know already? And we can say capturing this for the best practices guide kind of thing.
Yes.
And then anybody else who comes along could stick their own. Like if I saw one, I could go, oh, I know there's an issue on it. I'll go find the issue and tack it on. And then when we go to write it, we'll have a group of them. We can close it when the PR goes in.
I like that. I'll write it right now. I think I was holding off because I felt perhaps someone might have already been doing it, but I'm hearing that that's not the case, so I'll go for it.
Yeah, I haven't talked to Adnan, who took on the Ingress one,
Right.
so you might want to reach out to him, but I don't know that it has.
Okay.
I haven't seen anything. It was pointed out to me that we've been delinquent, and getting going on that, which is fine.
So maybe what am I hearing this right? Maybe what you're asking for is a master issue that we could then link to individual components that need to be documented from there.
Whatever you think is best.
Okay, I'll do it that way, and then if we want to shift it around, we can.
Sounds good. I just like having things tracked so we can link back to them and have a good record of what we're doing, because that gives some transparency to the community. It lets us track it, and any one of us can pop in and add details and stuff like that where it's needed. So.
Okay, some misspellings that I'll fix, but I just added that to the Google Doc for tracking.
Great. I like it. Yeah, because as we go to owner files, people are going to want to know the best practices. They're going to want to know how to review. That kind of stuff will help everybody. Okay. Anybody else have anything else?
Before we quit, who's going to Helm Summit actually?
I think I am.
Because I'm thinking about going, but it's just 9 hours time difference for me, so it kind of has to be worth it. So if at least most of us would come, I'd think about it. So.
I'm going subject to work approval, and even if they don't approve it, I may just use my Marriott points anyway.
Okay, cool.
I'm in the exact same boat.
Yeah, I'm planning on going unless something else comes up otherwise.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I need to drop off. So thanks.
Thanks.
Annette.
All right.
All right. Did we have anything else? Going once, going twice. All right. I guess this is our final meeting of the year. So everyone have a fantastic end of the year, and guess we're meeting again next year. And I'll go into the calendar invite and cancel the individual meeting for the December 26th, so nobody, gets notified or thinks about it or any of that too. And this video will probably be up online sometime later today.
Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, folks.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays, everyone. See y'all online.
See ya.